washing the back end of your trailer there, checking out how rough this road is.
These poor old trailers, I don't see how they hold together.
I know what you mean.
Years ago, truck drivers were known as Knights of the Highway. And they were the good guys. They stopped and helped you, they were courteous, they didn't cut you off, they didn't tailgate. Somehow or other that all got swung around the other direction, and now they're wearing the black hats. What you have is a couple of bad apples on both sides creating a problem for the majority.
If you run off the side of the road and you're laying down in the ditch, it's going to be a while before somebody comes along and finds you.
Well, I got one thing to say. That trucker that went in the ditch, he made one mistake. He didn't take the four-wheeler with him.
That's exactly right.
Whenever he went down in the ditch, he's chargeable. He'd have took the four-wheeler with him, he wouldn't have been charged.
I understand what you're saying.
And he wouldn't have went in the ditch then.
I understand what you're saying. But let's go back 10, 15, 20 years.
Yeah, let's go back.
How were you thought of then versus now?
A professional.
Right. Professional, okay. And what have we done with that attitude of taking a four-wheeler with us? Huh?
The biggest problem with the trucking industry today is the image of it, and that image is solely produced by the guy on the street. I mean, he is the trucking industry. When you try to get regulations in, you're always going to get opposition from the general public. And there are a lot more of them than there are us, and they're the people that you cut off every day or tailgate. And that's where it hurts us, because we're always fighting an uphill battle.
Do you get defensive of the trucking industry? I mean, if you're sitting in a diner, nobody knows you're a truck driver, and somebody at there starts cussing about truck drivers. I mean, what goes through your mind when you hear that?
It hurts, but I don't ever say anything, because I know what they're probably saying is probably the truth. You know, they probably had a bad experience on the road somewhere, and they have the right to think that about truckers. Of course, what they do is just put all of us into one group, you know. I care a lot about what people think of me. You know, I don't like it when I tell somebody that I drive truck and they go, "Oh, you're a truck driver, huh?" Yeah, that really kind of hurts. I don't like that. I'm proud of what I do, and right now I think it's what I do best. You know, I think overall most of your truck drivers are courteous drivers and they act like professionals. But like I said, it only takes one driver on any particular day, if he's in a bad mood and conducts himself as a non-professional, he's going to affect a lot of people that day. So all these motorists that he affects on that one particular day is going to group all truck drivers together, and they're going to think we're a bunch of bullies that own the highway.
Tailgating is one of the top three problems that the industry has, and unfortunately it's one of the most dangerous.
You're going to try to keep your following distance, but as soon as you back off, something's in front of you again anyway. And if you keep backing off, you're going to wind up in New York when you're supposed to be in L.A.
Some guys are in a perpetual race with life, you know. They just always want to be first. You got three units sitting in a row. Second man back there, he can't see what's happening in front of the first trailer. If that, for any reason, that first guy's got to stop, the second guy's bought the pound.
Your reaction time is pretty good, right? You can hit the brakes, lock that thing up, no matter how that four-wheeler cuts in front of you, right? Hold your hands like that, okay? Okay? Catch that $10 bill. Let's try it again. Just
Let me start at the bottom.
No. You know, you're already traveling.
Can't do it.
And that's what it all boils down to. That's just what that movie just showed. 3/4 of a second is all it takes to throw everything away that you worked for. Everything.
Well, you have two types of drivers. One guy gets angry, the other guy laughs. You know, just what a dummy he is, and you back off. That's all. Get away from him. You got cars that will come out and play games with truck drivers. Nobody knows why they do it.
I'd have to agree with that, because I had to teach myself to be one that just laughs it off. You just, at least for myself, I can't go out there week after week and drive the miles I do and be getting angry all the time at some of these jerks. I mean, some of these motorists are unsafe drivers, you know. You always have a lot of close calls. It goes, you know, it goes along with the territory, so to say.
Okay, what this is now is a pre-trip test, and there are 6 problems with the unit. Go through your normal pre-trip procedure. Just tell me what you found, and I will score you and grade you. And if you get all 6 correct, you got a jacket. Oh, you're here.
On the trailer? Been checked? Well, I don't think I found 6 of them yet. Well, I found the latch on the trailer door was latched. One glad hand is loose. The handle on the dolly is not in the hook. That's all I found so far.
Those are fire extinguishers, but there's no flares. So basically what you did is you checked the glad hand. You got 1, and that was it.
I mean, is this something that, you know, maybe 10 years ago you would have done all of this stuff, or you just get into that habit?
Yeah, I just got into a habit.
Because somebody's driving a truck and they're saying, okay, this is it, and I get out and I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. But they get into a habit, and it's the worst thing in the world to do is you get into a habit driving a truck, especially one of this size. And we're trying to make the drivers aware of exactly what's going on, because it's getting tougher and tougher and tougher.
Now your unit, from what we've seen so far in a walk-around inspection, is in pretty good condition. The only 2 problems I would find with it off the top would be that there may be some slop in the 5th wheel, which connects your tractor to trailer so that it doesn't get down the street on you and pass you, okay?
Yeah.
And the other one would be on your, right on the back there, we've got your sliding tandems on the trailer. You don't have a safety pin in there. Now I've investigated accidents where you hit a bounce and those sliding tandems will slide out of place on you, and you're going to wind up with a set of tandems sitting on the road there, and you're going to be pulling a trailer, and you're not going to pull it too far with the rear end sitting down there. So I'd recommend that you get a little pin or something, lock it right in it. You know better, right?
Right inside the door. I took it out myself.
Okay, you know what to do with it, right?
Yeah, I think it'd be a big problem where, yeah, you start taking things for granted. You start thinking, well, I know this guy's going to do this certain thing, and it ends up he doesn't do it. You know, you can't take anything for granted. You can't sit there and just daydream.
But you need to have an out at all times, and for a truck there are 3 outs: move left, move right, or be able to stop in time. And of course, when you're sitting on a road like this, when we are in the right-hand lane here, we have a shoulder that we have to assume is going to be empty most of the time, and you keep your eyes on that. That's why you move your eyes around so much in a truck, because you don't have that rear view mirror. So you need to be checking both sides, and as I look to my left side, I got 2 cars sitting on my tail, so if something happens up front, I can't move left. Now I only have 2 choices: be able to stop or move right. I have traffic coming in from the right-hand side now, so that eliminates the right side. Now I'm down to 1 choice: be able to stop in time. When I'm out here, in the back of my mind is I don't want to kill anybody, including myself.
Well, when I go past an accident where I know that maybe a truck driver or a motorist lost his life, it really bothers me. I think what bothers me most is I'll think of how unfair it would be to my son to have to grow up without his real father if something happened to me. I know my wife and little boy ride around in our car, in our family car, and it would really bother me to know that some truck driver was tailgating them like I see some of them do out here.
You have to admit that trucking, the industry, It gets in your blood. There is no going away from it. You are our representative. You are the professional. There is nobody else. How you keep your truck, how you keep yourself, that's all the image that they see.
We live in these things every day, and yeah, it's nice. Gives you a good feeling to be going down the road with a nice, clean, shiny truck. You know, I guess that would be a reflection on the drivers being proud of their job. Like you say, moving the merchandise. You know, America moves by truck, as the saying goes, and we do move a lot of valuable goods. And I think there needs to be a sense of pride to go along with the job.
Remember that you don't own the road. It's for everybody out there, all the citizens of the United States, and you need to share it with them. You know, 90% of the driving population are amateurs, and you've got to understand that. You've got to be ready to compensate for their mistakes and try not to make any of your own.
10-4.
Yeah, but that guy said truck drivers are nice there. You in a four-wheeler?
10-4.
I appreciate it there. You don't hear that very often coming from a four-wheeler.
Oh, well, it's the truth, you know? You got to give credit where credit's due, you know?
Thanks again for the compliment, anyhow.
Oh, yeah, and I'll tell you, you have yourself a real good day.
Damn for same to you. Have yourself a good day. That makes you feel good when you hear that.
The professional truck driver. Section 1. Cushion of safety. A professional in any field is a person who is well trained, who has experience in applying this training, and who always takes pride and care in doing a first-class job. A professional truck driver can handle the rig, knows that pushing it does not work, keeps personal emotions out of driving, and drives responsibly. Building a cushion of safety demands all the skills and patience of a professional driver. Allow yourself room to drive alone, trying to stay out of any pack of vehicles. The most important element of your cushion of safety is maintaining a 4-second following distance whenever possible, and never letting your following distance drop below 2 seconds. Here's how you can check your 4-second following distance. Pick out a stationary object in the distance, like that overpass ahead. When the vehicle in front of you passes that object, begin counting 1001, 1002, 1003, 1004. If you come to the overpass before you get to 1004, you are following too closely for a safe stop if the driver in front has an accident or panic stops, especially if you don't pick up the problem immediately because you're looking somewhere else at that instant. Sometimes drivers feel that a 4-second following distance is too much. After all, other vehicles will just pull in front, closing up the gap. If you keep backing off, you'll never get to your destination. However, cut-ins usually cut right back out. Staying back 4 seconds allows a margin of safety to avoid a panic stop if there's an accident right in front of you. You'll have far fewer emergency situations calling for evasive action. Besides, staying back saves needless wear and tear on brakes and tires and on yourself. In addition, let's look at the facts. At 30 miles per hour, a truck needs 140 feet to stop, but only has 132 feet of space with a 3-second following distance. At 55 miles per hour, a truck needs 337 feet to stop, but only has 240 feet of space with the 3-second following distance. That's a 3-second following distance, not a 4-second following distance. Of course, the stopping distance of the vehicle in front does add some distance to your stopping space, but not enough in a real emergency. Of course, the need for stopping space is increased by such things as wet pavement, oil, mud, sand, leaves, and snow. Because of the height of the seat in a truck, you normally have an excellent view of the road ahead. But don't let your big picture lead you into tailgating. If the driver in front slows down, you'll hit him before you have a chance to react. Don't tailgate. And tailgating another truck means you can't see ahead at all, so you're driving blind. If that truck driver slows down or stops suddenly for reasons that you can't see or anticipate, you're almost certain to be involved in an accident. Back off and get your eyes off his brake lights. Don't tailgate. Adjusting speed to conditions and maintaining a 4-second following distance may cost you a few extra minutes on the trip. However, reducing the stress and fatigue created by tailgating allows the pro to stay more alert during the entire trip. Keeping a safe following distance allows you time to scan your driving environment to maintain your cushion of safety. Your scan should start at least 20 seconds down the road, a distance of about a quarter of a mile at highway speeds, looking for any traffic congestion or other problems ahead. Sweep your eyes to the left and right to spot any upcoming hazards at either side of the road. It is this long-distance scan that allows you to make decisions on proper lane selection and proper speed adjustment long before the traffic situation requires you to make a rapid or even an emergency decision. If you decide a lane change is not necessary, recheck any hazards as you approach them. Your scanning procedure also includes checking both your left and right mirrors. And remember, it takes about twice as long to adequately check your right mirrors because these mirrors are further away and give a smaller field of view. Quick lane changes to the right cause many sideswipe accidents. Frequent mirror checks will alert you to a vehicle entering one of your blind spots. Any vehicle in one of your blind spots has reduced your cushion of safety. That driver would be trapped by a sudden move on your part. If someone is tailgating you, slow down gradually until you have increased your following distance behind the car in front of you. The tailgater may then choose to pass you. But even if he continues to tailgate, you will have allowed additional room for slowing down if the driver in front of you suddenly stops. Depending on the adjustment of your mirrors and type of truck, the location of your blind spots can vary, and you should know where they are. Try to minimize the ones on each side and to the rear by adjusting your mirrors properly. But remember that even properly adjusted mirrors will not completely eliminate blind spots. You should even be aware of other drivers in each other's blind spots. If A hits the brakes, B may swing towards C, not realizing that he's there. C, in turn, will be forced to cut in front of truck D. If C and D collide, D will claim that it was C's fault. However, D could have prevented the problem by recognizing the situation and backing off. D has another problem. E may be in his blind spot, and he certainly is in D's cushion of safety. Here, D's options are severely limited, and he must back off from C as a precaution. Whenever backing off in a problem situation, you can add an extra margin of safety by covering the brake. Put your right foot over the brake, but don't brake. By already having your foot over the brake, you will substantially reduce your reaction time and thereby reduce your total stopping distance. Many truck accidents occur when a vehicle cuts into the trucker's lane. Expect it. You know this will happen frequently on urban expressways. Be ready to back off. The other drivers should look before changing lanes, but sometimes they forget. Maintaining a cushion of safety is a critical factor in accident-free driving. However, in congested traffic, you may lose your cushion of safety for short periods. Here, the telephone poles limit your options in an emergency. Increase your scanning activity and level of alertness. Ask yourself, if something goes wrong, how can I avoid being involved in an accident? This concludes Cushion of Safety. Stop tape. Coaching the professional truck driver. Section 2. Highway driving. A special hazard of high-speed roads is that of the interchange with its exit and entry ramps. When entering a high-speed road, lag back from the car in front, keeping at least 3 truck lengths of following distance, more if you are moving faster than 25 miles per hour. Although you may glance at the flow of traffic on the high-speed road, concentrate your attention on the vehicle in front until that vehicle has actually merged. Staying back until the vehicle in front has merged will avoid a panic stop if that vehicle unexpectedly slows down or stops while you're looking for a gap in freeway traffic. Allow you time to scan for a break in traffic, and allow you room to accelerate and merge smoothly into the gap. When it is your turn to merge, be sure to turn your head for a final check before moving into traffic. Do not rely on mirrors alone. Your mirrors will not cover multiple lane highways, and there just may be a vehicle moving into your merge lane from the second lane over. Once on the expressway, you will pass through many interchanges. Your 20-second scan will pick up clues of an approaching interchange, such as information signs, overhead bridges, and lighted areas. Exit signs are placed at least 700 feet before off-ramps. When approaching an interchange, scan for vehicles approaching from behind you that may cut in front to exit. Also scan for vehicles that might be merging in front of you. Either of these situations may require you to adjust your speed. When passing on a multiple lane road, you should be moving at least 5 miles per hour faster than the other vehicle. This is especially important on upgrades where it is difficult to maintain speed. And before pulling out to pass, be sure you don't close the door on overtaking traffic. While passing, use the left side of the passing lane when possible. This allows for a margin of error and for any drift that the other vehicle may experience. If necessary, tap your horn and be ready to back off or move farther left if you can do so safely. And remember, check your mirrors to be sure your truck has safely cleared and no one else is trying to squeeze in before you return to the right lane. While driving on a limited access highway, it is important to guard against a false sense of security. You usually have a good field of vision, and there certainly is more room to maneuver. However, congestion and other such hazards can create problems just as difficult as those on two-lane roads and on city streets. When exiting, the law requires that you signal at least 100 feet in advance. Move into the deceleration lane at its beginning so nobody can sneak through on your right. Continue to check for drivers that might cut in from the left to beat you to the exit. Use the deceleration lane to reduce your speed to well below the posted exit ramp speed. These posted speeds were set for cars, not trucks, and are almost always too fast for your vehicle. Curved ramps are the site of many overturn accidents. When approaching a toll booth, check your brakes and stay to the right. This position will lessen the chances of a car pulling up on your right where your vision is more limited. When leaving a toll booth, staying to the right will give you a better view of traffic when merging. Watch out for drivers jockeying for position. Fighting the toll booth battle can only save a minute or so, but may result in hours of lost time waiting for the police and filling out accident reports. Deliver your cargo a minute later, but accident-free. This concludes highway driving. Stop tape. Coaching the professional truck driver. Section 3. Rural areas. Rural roads can present hazards where you do not have much room to maneuver. Sometimes your field of vision is severely limited by trees, bushes, standing crops, farm buildings, curves, or hills. These obstacles can hide intersections and driveways, and you won't see a vehicle pulling out into your lane. Sometimes a slow-moving vehicle or a stopped school bus will be lurking beyond the crest of a hill, completely hidden from view. To prepare for possible hazards when you can't see at least 4 seconds down the road, cover your brake to allow your vehicle to slow down and to reduce your total stopping distance. Passing on rural roads requires special consideration. Suppose you come up behind a vehicle doing 50 on a two-lane road with a posted speed of 55. Is it safe to pass? Let's figure out the distance it will take. You will need 75 feet to pull out, a bare minimum. 20 feet for the length of the vehicle. 50 feet at least of passing clearance. 55 feet at least for the length of the truck, for a total of 200 feet. At these speeds, it will take you almost 2,200 feet, or just under half a mile, to complete the pass. If there is an oncoming driver going 55, he will also travel 2,200 feet while you are passing. You need almost 1 mile clear before you can pass. If you close up to pass and can't, don't forget to drop back and resume a safe following distance. Of course, if the other vehicle is going 40, the distance required to pass is far less. It would take a little more than 1/8 of a mile to pass, reducing the risk by shortening the time that you are in the lane of oncoming traffic. When approaching a rural intersection that is controlled by a traffic light, slow down and cover the brake. Even when the light is green, it may have been on long enough that it will turn red by the time you arrive. Even when a side road is controlled by a blinking light or no traffic control device at all, as in the case of a driveway, cover the brake if you see an approaching vehicle. The car might not stop even if you're close. Many drivers just must beat a truck, or so it seems. You're the professional. Don't race to beat the other guy. Always watch the condition of the roadside. Often there is little or no shoulder to use in an emergency. When boxed in by the environment, it is especially important to maintain an adequate following distance and hold your speed down to a level suitable for conditions. Pushing it will severely limit your ability to scan ahead. Low bridges can be found anywhere. Know the height of your vehicle. If empty, it will be riding higher. If the bridge height is not marked or your clearance is tight, gradually slow down, coming to a stop if necessary to check. Put on your four-way flashers. Don't forget that ice and snow or a change in grade under the bridge can make clearance even tighter. And if the road is newly paved, the sign giving the bridge height probably hasn't been changed. Also, watch out for lower clearances on the right with arched and steel truss bridges. Preventing runaway accidents on downgrades is strictly up to you. Pay particular attention to the warning signs and use the brake check areas. Most importantly, gear down at the top of the hill and use the braking effect of the engine. Once you're at higher speeds, you can't shift down. When braking on a grade, be sure you brake hard enough to get all the brakes functioning. A light application may not actuate all of the brakes at the same time. Brake to a speed to below your desired speed, and then release the brakes completely. Don't allow your speed to build to any more than 5 miles per hour above your desired speed before braking again. A drop in air pressure of more than 15 pounds may indicate your brakes are beginning to fade. Stop and let them cool. This concludes rural areas. Stop tape. Coaching the professional truck driver. Section 4. Special hazards. Night driving presents a challenge to the driver, since many of the clues available in daylight driving are not present at night. Visibility is limited to the range of the headlights. You may need to slow down to avoid overdriving your headlights. For example, this vehicle at the side of the road may be more than just a disabled vehicle. In this case, a person is partly on the roadway while changing a tire. When in doubt, slow down. You may have to stop, or if clear, move to the left to pass. Another problem in night driving is blinding headlights. If you are forgetting to lower your headlights, you are blinding oncoming drivers. In addition, you may be suffering from highway hypnosis. Your mind is not on your driving, and you may be fixating and ignoring your scanning procedures. Note the clearance light that's out. You need to recheck your lights at every night stop. If the oncoming driver doesn't lower his headlights, don't look directly into the high beams. Use the right side of the road as a reference point. If his car starts to drift towards your lane, blink your lights, sound your horn, slow down, and be ready to pull as far right as possible to avoid a head-on collision. 80% of all fatal alcohol-related collisions occur between 8 p.m. and 8 a.m. Be on the lookout for erratic drivers who may be driving too fast or too slow for conditions, weaving, making wider turns than necessary, or driving without headlights on. Any driver who is out of step with the flow of traffic requires extra attention. Stay clear of an erratic driver. Do not put yourself in jeopardy by passing. Sometimes the impaired driver will be startled by the passing truck and will pull right into you. It's a good idea to alert other drivers and the police of a problem driver using your CB. Notifying the authorities is a legitimate use of Channel 9. Adverse weather conditions are always difficult, whether driving day or night, local or over the road. Of course, ice and snow are dangerous, and all truck drivers know that they must at least slow down. It may be necessary to stop and wait for conditions to improve. In addition, Wet roads can be just as dangerous, especially if there is any oil film on the road. Even moderately slippery roads provide ideal conditions for a jackknife. Once the angle between the tractor and trailer exceeds 15 degrees, a jackknife will almost always happen. Slow down and adjust your speed to meet road conditions. The distance required to stop can increase from 3 to 12 times, and sudden hard braking will lock the wheels. A locked wheel has no traction at all, and you lose any ability to steer or stop. But even dry pavement is no guarantee that a jackknife will not occur. Any condition that reduces visibility, such as fog, dust, smoke, blowing snow, and heavy rain, requires slowing down and increasing following distance. Don't assume that these conditions are of short duration. Slow down in advance, because the condition may continue farther than you think. Professionals don't drive blind. Don't stop on the road shoulder except in an emergency. If you must stop, immediately put on your four-way flashers until you have put out the triangles at the prescribed distances. Triangles must be put out if you will be stopped for more than 10 minutes. If you must go for help, it's a good idea to leave a note on the windshield explaining what's wrong and where you've gone for help. When possible, send another person for help and stay with your vehicle. When making a rest stop, check your equipment. Follow recommended company policy for leaving your vehicle, including setting the brakes and checking your vehicle. Be sure you're in good shape too. Adequate off-duty rest and good nutrition improve driving performance. It's best to eat small meals, emphasizing complex carbohydrates such as whole grain foods, vegetables, and fruits, along with the proteins. Large meals heavy on fat can make you sluggish and sleepy, even in the middle of the day. Big doses of sugar can also reduce your alertness by causing rapid increases and then decreases in your blood sugar level. It is your responsibility to stay away from alcohol when driving and not use any other drugs, even prescriptions, unless your doctor agrees they will not adversely affect your driving. The Federal Motor Carrier Safety Regulations prohibit you from consuming any alcoholic beverage within 4 hours of going on duty, from driving when under the influence of alcohol or other drugs, and from using, possessing, or transporting such substances except as a part of a legitimate shipment. This concludes Special Hazards. Stop tape. Coaching the Professional Truck Driver. Section 5. City Driving. Scanning is just as important in the city as on the highway. In the city, this means scanning a block or more ahead to locate potential trouble spots. At the upcoming intersection, look for any backups in traffic. Check the traffic signal. Remember, the longer the light has been green, the sooner it's likely to turn red. Along the curb, look for parked vehicles with drivers, turned wheels, exhaust, or other clues indicating that a vehicle might pull out or a door might open. And to the right, note the car turning right on red, the pedestrians, and the oversized vehicles blocking your view and your lane. Scan for pedestrians who are jaywalking and for double-parked vehicles blocking the right lane. You can plan your driving to avoid these hazards and make any necessary lane changes before you have to stop and wait. Don't wave drivers or pedestrians across the street in front of your truck. If an accident occurs, you could be held legally liable for giving the signal. If there are hazards to your right, it is best to position your truck to the left of your lane to maximize the margin of safety on your right. On a two-lane street, don't forget to check for oncoming traffic drifting toward your lane. As you near mid-block, recheck traffic conditions at the approaching intersection and begin adjusting your speed to the traffic light. If the light is still green, it may turn red by the time you reach the intersection. Move your foot to cover the brake in preparation for the light change. At mid-block, you should also begin scanning to the beginning of the next block to spot any hazards or blockages. A great many truck accidents occur while a truck is making a right turn at an intersection. Perhaps other drivers don't realize that often a truck must swing to the left before turning right. Maybe they think they can quickly scoot by on the right. Whatever the reason, you must take special precautions on every right turn. Start your signaling at mid-block or at least 100 feet before the intersection. Move into the right lane as close to the curb or parked cars as practical. The objective is to block cars from trying to squeeze by you on the right. As the cab mirror on the right loses its view, look out the back window if your cab has one, or roll on your right hip to get an early view out of the right side window. When turning right onto a single lane, begin the swing to the left as late as possible, allowing your trailer to continue blocking the right lane as long as possible. A right turn must be made slowly to give all drivers ample time to recognize and adjust to your maneuver. When turning right onto a street with 2 lanes available, you can usually eliminate all or much of your pull to the left before turning right. Be sure to keep that right lane blocked on the street from which you are turning. If you plan to make a right turn on red where it is permitted, you must first stop behind the crosswalk. After your initial stop, move up slowly to check traffic. Remember, you must not interfere with oncoming traffic or pedestrians. Pedestrians are particularly vulnerable to right turn on red accidents. You must scan both left and right for pedestrians and traffic. Because you may have to swing wide to make the turn and you have slow acceleration, it is best not to make a right turn on red unless all traffic in both directions is clear. When you have to stop in a line of traffic, stop far enough back so that, if necessary, you can swing around without backing up. Stopping a reasonable distance back is also good public relations. Nobody likes glancing in their rearview mirror and seeing nothing but truck grill. Even professional drivers sometimes forget to use safe driving techniques and need refreshing. A good way to tune up your skills is to check yourself by using commentary driving. Talk out loud about the traffic scene, identifying potential problems and analyzing what you would do to prevent an accident. Take a moment right now and identify to yourself the potential problems that you see in this situation. If you were driving, you might have mentioned that the light had changed, but you were already in the intersection. Did you pick up the car trying to turn right on red, the pedestrians on the corner, the Dr. Pepper truck blocking your view, and the bus stopped mid-block? Did you remind yourself to move to the left side of your lane? Even in the city, you must be concerned with your cushion of safety. This concludes City Driving. Stop tape. Coaching the Professional Truck Driver. Section 6. Backing. 25 to 30% of all local accidents involve backing. Before starting to back up, turn on your four-way flashers. Then get out and check your path of travel. Pay particular attention to obstructions that are in your blind spots close to your path of travel. If you are opening swing-back doors, be sure they're secured. Check the load to be sure that nothing will fall out. Look for side and overhead obstructions such as building overhangs and utility wires. Check for curbs or potholes that in a tight place might tip your trailer into a building wall or neighboring trailer. Then start your backing immediately before a pedestrian or other vehicle can get behind you. It's a good idea to tap your horn before starting to back. While backing, move slowly and tap your horn again if there are any pedestrians in the area. Because of your limited vision, you must not only use your mirrors, but also turn your head and look. When backing a long distance, you may need to get out of the cab several times to recheck. When possible, use a helper. Before starting, agree on hand signals. An easy way is to have the helper point in the direction that the rear of your vehicle should go. Have the helper stand to the front right of the cab. After the driver does a walk-around, the helper is then in position to see the entire length of the right side of the rig while the driver checks the left side. Also, the helper is always in full view of the driver. When there is an overhead obstruction, the helper should be placed where he can check for top clearance. Never allow the helper to stand between the dock and the truck. It is surprising the number of helpers, even experienced truck drivers, who will do this. To indicate the distance from the final stopping point, the helper can hold both hands in the air and bring them together as your truck approaches the final stopping position. After docking, kill the engine, and set the brake. Even with the brake set, don't forget to chock the wheels. Whether or not you use a helper, safe backing is your responsibility. Always back slowly and stop immediately if you hear a horn or other signal. If in doubt, get out of the cab and check. It takes a little more time and effort, but it will save an accident. When you have an unfamiliar rig, you can use the step technique to minimize the number of out-of-cab checks. Stop your rig a number of feet before reaching the dock. Step off the distance from the rear of the truck to the dock. Then step off the same distance from the driver's seat towards the dock. Use a rag to mark the spot. Slowly back the truck close to the rag. Do one final out-of-cab check before completing the maneuver. If at all possible, avoid pulling forward into any place where you will have to back onto a public street when leaving. However, before beginning to back off a street, wait for traffic to clear completely. If the traffic is too heavy to clear, you'll have to wait for a vehicle to stop and block traffic. Use your four-way flashers during the entire maneuver. Don't forget, on any long back, with or without a helper, you may need to get out of the truck to check your progress for yourself. Again, the safety of your vehicle is your responsibility and nobody else's. This concludes backing. Stop tape.